Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of October 12th through the 18th. And during that time, we'll have a waning gibbous, then we'll have a last quarter moon on the 15th, and then waning crescent. So that's a lot of different moon energies, but they're kind of the same. They just kind of accelerate and actually decelerate. So we're coming off that full moon energy, and the waning gibbous is a good time for self-reflection, a good time to make positive changes and get rid of bad habits and negative thinking. And then on that last quarter day, really good time for reflection, releasing what didn't serve us in this last cycle, kind of taking responsibility for our actions and thinking about how we want to move forward in the next cycle. Then the waning crescent is definitely a time of surrender, rest, and healing, a time to really let go of everything that you've been working on just for a day or two there. And let's get rested up for the new cycle that comes up with the new moon. So please keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Aquarius. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading: meditate and contemplate. And that is very interesting because my fun reminder this week is literally about meditation. And that would be that you take some time to meditate this week. So, find a quiet space and just relax, go within, still yourself, still your mind, get very quiet and just explore. So that is my fun reminder. If it's something you already do, then you know what I'm talking about. If meditation is not something that you do, then it's just maybe a good week to start practicing that, especially with those moon energies. It's a little bit quieter time. There's not that heightened energy of, the full moon, or even the first quarter can be a little, in just a little bit jittery energy. So that we don't have that kind of energy, it's a good time just kind of relax and let go. So anyway, okay, I will stop babbling about meditation, but interesting that your card that comes up for your overall is to go ahead and meditate and contemplate. So you're getting double the message this week on that. All right, Aquarius, let's get into this reading, October 12th through the 18th. See what you need to meditate and contemplate about. Okay, well, you're looking back with the Nine of Wands here, looking back on your past. And that's literally, especially if you're looking back on this last cycle, you might be looking back even further than that, but you're kind of making an assessment there. This is like our wounded warrior card who's wondering, look at the battles I've fought and won or fought and lost. You're kind of just doing an evaluation. And we are in the moon energy for that kind of evaluation. This is how we make changes, is by looking back. Where have we been? You don't want to continue doing the same things that are unsuccessful. You want to do the things that have been successful and then make, just change those things that weren't working out as well. All right, your current situation is King of Swords. So you're sitting in a very logical energy. I call this like our Mr. Spock of the deck. This is someone who is just very logical. It's sword energies. They speak logically, they think logically. And so that's an energy that you're kind of looking back on your past, and maybe you're using this logic to think, okay, let me logically think my way out of how I want to move forward and how I want to make improvements in a very logical manner, right? At the root of your situation is your stability. So you might be questioning that stability. Just in the world, like, how stable am I? When I look back through my past, have I been doing things and actions and activities that have brought me more stability or less stability? And how do I, if I need to make this more stability, how do I use my logic to make sure that I can get to a place where I feel like I'm stable? And many times this is in just the material sense. So this would be stable with your money, stable with your living conditions, that you're living in a place that's very stable, just so that, it's hard for any of us to grow unless we have some sort of stability. It's just, some days it's just nice to wake up in the same place. Right? So having that sort of stability, or the stability of just a stable bank account, so think of those ways in which you need to improve on your stability right now. In your recent past, is kind of, the Six of Cups can be kind of reminiscing about our past or thinking about, you might be looking back on your childhood when it comes to this. Look how this guy is reflecting back, and this card can be about our youth, looking back on who we were as children. And maybe you're wondering, is something that you've gone through in your past, does that affect your stability now? And if it does, you just need to work on that stuff and alchemize that stuff and do it in a very logical way so that you can move forward and grow, so maybe it is a good time to kind of make those assessments. And you don't have to change everything at once. you know I get the feeling that if there's a lot of things going on in your life, just change one thing. Pick one thing that would make you more stable. And maybe it's just money. Maybe it's, I'm going to save this amount of money every month. That adds up very quickly over time. And all of a sudden you have a bank account with money in it. So pick, and I'm not saying that that's what you have to do. I'm saying pick one thing that you feel like would make you feel more stable, and just commit to doing that thing, and don't waver from it. On your mind this week is the High Priestess. So this is our card of mystery, and letting the universe kind of guide you. When you're looking back and you're wondering how to get more stable, sometimes there's signs from the universe, or things just fall into your lap. So pay attention to a book that you might come across. Something that someone says to you might be something that you need to hear, or it might point you in the way of direction, or you might find that someone that you didn't even, let's go back to this bank account example. There might be someone around you that you don't even know is very stable with money, and you can ask them, if that's not, and I'm just using this as an example. Some of you may be great with money, but if that's one of your instability issues, you may say, how did you get so stable with the money? And let them explain what their process is. And maybe they were just raised a little different than you, and that's okay. You can learn from from what they know, which is awesome. What is just ahead of you is the Queen of Wands. So lots of royalty. Anytime I start to see a couple of royalty cards, I start to think that, you've had some influences in your life. Queen of Wands is about kind of following your passions, and that is what's ahead of you, but you need to follow your passions, but use your logic also. So following those passions, watching for the signs of the universe, listening to your dreams and kind of where the universe is going to send you, but also, picking those areas in which you want to be stable. Um, you can follow these things that are a little bit more out there, a little bit more maybe non-traditional, but you need to hang on to some sort of stability, if that makes sense. In your advice position, is when you do find those things that the universe is offering you, don't be so dissatisfied by them. Okay. It may not be fun. And actually, we've got 2 4s here. So we'll see if we get more worked up on the table. But already look up angel number 44. But don't be don't poo poo the things that the universe says that you need to do, because if that's going to lead to more stability, it may not look like the fun choice at the time. And and I feel like I want to say to you, find the places where you can be stable, and let that stability drive the places where you want to be a little bit more not stable, like if it's your passions, and um I'm just trying to think of a good example. Let's say you're an artist and you're out there when it comes to all of these things, and you do move from an apartment to this apartment to that person. You're sleeping on your friend's couch over here, and it's just hard to get that stability going. And so then you don't have a place to do your art consistently, right? So you want to combine any kind of passion that you have like that, that's kind of a thing. You want to have a little bit more stability so that you can use your creativity and relax and have a space to be creative, right? So you need to combine those things. So whatever the universe is offering you that may seem boring at the moment may lead to more stability, but it also may lead to more stability in like a place to do the passion thing that you have. Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right. What's beyond your control this week is the Six of Pentacles. So are you in giving mode or are you in receiving mode? And either one is fine. fine. But that's something that's beyond your control this week, that you're either going to be helping someone or they are going to be helping you. If you're helping someone, that's awesome. If you're in need of help, that's awesome too. Just make sure, thank you. Be polite about it and remember those people later if there's someone that does come along to help you in some way, even if it's not monetary or financial, someone who gives you really good advice. Just make sure you're a listening ear for them later on down the road when they may need your advice. What is your secret desire, or what you're trying to avoid? Is the devil. I hope you're trying to avoid this devil. This is that devil on your shoulder with those false truths that's telling you you can't do any of this. You can't have a stable bank account. Lie. You can't have a stable place to live. Lies. That's all lies. That's all the devil is about telling you all those false truths. You can do any of these things if you put your logic, if you put your logic with the thing, you'd logically do step by step by step to get your stability up so that you can feel comfortable again doing the things that you love to do, and you'll at least have a space to do them in and feel a little bit more stable about it. In your outcome position is the emperor. Yeah, look what you can accomplish. You can be a leader and you can get things done and you can find a way to build this. You're definitely smart enough. You've got all the tools that you need. It's almost like I feel like this is so all over the place that you need to focus, and you need to focus on what the universe is telling you, not what this devil is telling you. Flick him off your shoulder, meditate, contemplate, and maybe just get organized. Make a list of the things that you do want to work on to make yourself more stable. And that's a list we can all do. It doesn't matter where you are in your life. Whether you're just starting out or you're already established, there's always places where we can all be a little bit more stable and work on. And we all do that all the time. So pick what that is for you, pick that one thing. And once you start doing it, what do they say? It takes like 21 days for a thing to become a habit. So just it becomes habit, and it'll become second nature. And then that's one stability thing that you're not going to have to think of anymore. What's hidden from you this week is the Seven of Pentacles, which is really kind of waiting for your harvest. You have not planted any seeds, I feel like, in this situation, whatever this is for you. There's nothing to harvest. That's why it's hidden from you, and that's why you're concerned about your stability. You've got to start planting those seeds so that they can come to fruition months down the road. So all right, let's see what the Soul Oracle deck has to say. And again, I'm going to go back to meditate and contemplate. It is a really good time. We're approaching a new cycle. So it's a good time to really reflect on what you're doing with your life right now. Get rid of those things that aren't working. And if this means sitting down with a list where you're making pros and cons and mistakes I made and things I did well, make sure you are focusing also on those things that you're doing well, because you want to expand on those and do more of that stuff and get rid of just the negative things. But we've got this new cycle coming up with this new moon approaching, and you want to be ready with, okay, these are the changes I'm going to make. It's almost like you get to do almost like New Year's resolutions, but you get to do this monthly and make little tiny tweaks. It doesn't have to be a huge thing or something that you can't stick with. Just little small changes in your life. And this week for you, or this month, you're going to focus on stability. So anyway, keep that in mind. Soul Oracle deck for Aquarius says, become a clear channel. And that's really this High Priestess card, is pay attention to what the universe is saying to you. Don't be a clear channel for this devil that comes up with self-doubt and all these being obsessed, being closed-minded about something, not listening to this is, having false fears and all of those false things that make you negative and bring those things in. We're going to quiet that devil down and let's pay attention to the universe. So become a clear channel for that. And a really good way to tune into that is to meditate and contemplate. All right. In the way of self-care for Aquarius this week, Aquarius self-care says, needs is the card that you get. Do you need more time to yourself? A break from thinking too much? A kind encounter with a friend? Your needs matter, and it's time to honor them. Yeah, what is it that you need? I mean, and go ahead and make that list again. Pros, cons. What are you doing right? What are you doing wrong? Why are you questioning your own stability, and what can you do in the logic realm? What can you logically do step by step to get yourself to a place where you feel like you're more stable? So if you work on this month, by next month, you've got it kicked and you're definitely working towards being more stable. So Aquarius, I wish you the best of luck with all of this. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a message in the comments down below and let me know, what area of your life do you feel less stable in or you want to make improvements on? And, is there a way for you to use logic and watch the signs and there's things that the universe kind of puts in front of you to help you on your path. Make sure you're meditating too. Give that a try. It's something that it just helps you clear yourself and to kind of calm everything down so that you can think more clearly and you can build something and work, really work into this leadership feeling which is at the end of your reading. It's just a matter of you really focusing down in on something. So anyway, if you like my reading style, please click like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. But most importantly, Aquarius, it'll help you find me next week where you can come back. We can see if this energy, if this story continues, or if there's something completely new here for you next week. So once again, thank you so much for being here. Good luck with all of this, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.